Hello, Chunky. It's a Saturday live across the world. This is The Voice of Reason. My name's Alex Belfield, and I just wanted to thank you and also remind you. I want to thank you for making my dreams come true. The last week has been the best week of my life, entertaining audiences across this country. On Tuesday, we go down to Bournemouth for another live show. Last night we were in Newcastle. I took the brave risk of bringing back a pariah, a lady who was exorcised from show business, having been one of the biggest stars on LBC, Daily Mail, The Sun this morning, and then they suddenly decided she had to go. That's what we do in this country, but we give second chances to people who maybe, I don't know, crash their car off their tits on drugs and alcohol whilst being a mother to ADD children, all different dads, maybe off their tits driving cars, and end up presenting things like Britain's Got No Talent. We forgive certain people, but not others. During a week where we celebrated the fact that we have the first homosexual in football in 3 decades, we have to wonder, are we living in some kind of vortex? Have we gone back in time? Where are we at during a week where we see the first anniversary of Lisa Shaw's passing? We mustn't forget Lisa Shaw, because I think she is the epitome of where we're at and how we've lost our minds. The fact that this woman worked for the BBC, and the first thing the BBC did the day she died was tell the presenters that they couldn't show grief on air, and if they even began to correlate her death with the jab, they would be sacked. Not my opinion, the coroner's report, there it is. Even broadcast by the BBC, but not for debate. And should anybody else have a similar experience to her, I can guarantee you won't be getting on talk radio. As Mike Graham told his audience, it's of no interest to him. And we remember Nick Ferrari, who wanted to sack nurses who didn't need the jab, but he said they should be sacked if they didn't have it. We mustn't forget James Whale, these pariahs of truth who want to pretend they're on your side, yet at the same time, like him, said nurses should be sacked who didn't have the jab, despite the very real consequences of the government injectable. As Gareth will tell you, that is Lisa Shaw's partner, who today is sat with his child without a mother. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm just here to put a mirror up to what's going on, while we're distracting ourselves with little Jack Daniels coming out of the closet, pretending that there are no homosexuals in football other than him, which we know is blatantly not true. Have you been to any of their hot tub parties? My God, I'm telling you, raw, Jesus Christ, they can't sit down for a fortnight. These people are disingenuous. These people are distracting you with what we should be talking about. And why we're now fearing monkeypox, I wonder what we should really be looking at. What is the distraction at the moment? Well, the meeting of 195 global leaders, for example, is something we should be talking about. They're meeting today, the WEF, yes, the World Economic Forum, a group of people like the WHO who want to dictate to you how you have to behave the next time they come up with another cockamamie pandemic, whether it be monkeypox driven or some other created thing in a lab. They're deciding your future and your freedom. But how could we trust these people, bearing in mind that Trudeau's part of it, and he's the man who shut people's bank accounts who tried to challenge the narrative? Or indeed Macron, who made people sit on the curb to eat food. He wouldn't allow them in restaurants if they didn't have the jab, for example. These are not people I want to be associated with, which are all part of that conglomerate of dictatorships who want to run their totalitarian organizations to decide your future and mine. As we sit here on a Saturday, I think back to last week and the community of people who came to Blackpool. We had no trouble at all whatsoever. There was nothing but love in the room. And yet, isn't it funny that they want to pretend that Katie Hopkins and I are two far-right extreme people who do nothing but cause trouble, when in fact our room is full of love, our room is full of hugs and kisses, laughter and joy. But it's born out of people who feel completely disenfranchised, and so they should. This week we found out that your Chancellor of Money, Rishi-Washy Sunak, is worth £730 million. How could we possibly have anything in common with this man? And yet they want to pretend they're one of us. When I stood on stage last night at the Rainton Arena, I realised the power and also the joy of sticking by what you believe and telling the truth, and how it pays off in the end. This week for me is the most profound of all. 2 years ago, I was talking to 14 people on Facebook. We now have 500,000 viewers on YouTube and the biggest free speech community behind the paywall at alexbelfield.com. I've had to go there because even this video will be reported and they'll say you're outrageous, you're shocking, you're saying things we don't want you to say, even though everything I've said in this video is born out of fact. I haven't lied once, I haven't manipulated figures, I've simply given you the facts that they don't want to talk about on the mainstream media. As I went to get my 4 pints of milk from Sainsbury's this morning for £1.45, up 45p since Christmas, I look at the newspapers and while they're distracting with Wagatha, I think about my own impending court visit. This coming Wednesday, I'll be able to speak for the first time. I have waited over a decade to be able to tell my truth about the abuse I endured at the BBC and those there who tried to destroy my life and those who have since fought to silence and gag me and try anything, including sending the bomb squad to shut me up, to intimidate me, to hope they could find something and indeed to scare me into suicide. That is what I believe. And that is what I'm going to prove in a court of law. And Wednesday, I finally get my opportunity in front of a judge sent from London, a High Justice. Apparently, the most senior judge in Nottingham was not superior enough for this case. Isn't that interesting? And yet, Nottingham police have still not delivered the 1,000 files they've misplaced, lost, can't find, don't have available, including the body-worn cameras for my arrests, all of my arrests. And I know why they haven't sent it, because I've got my own video proving those arrests were not legal, for many reasons. See you in court, Chief Constable. See you in court, Caroline Henry. She's busy in the courts at the moment, having sped 5 times in 4 months, and is about to lose her licence and job, I hope. You surely couldn't have a police crime commissioner who herself is a criminal, surely. Breaking the law, speeding, not just once, but 5 times. Well, if you want to sit there in sanctimony and you want to be supercilious like those BBC journalistic Guardian reading types, you will fall from grace. What I love about what we've done here at the Secret VOR Club and at YouTube is create a community of people who are simply asking questions and talking. And so far, I don't believe we've been wrong about anything. We see through the bullshit. This week we saw a policewoman claim that they're so poorly paid on 40,000 that she believes police will take bribes. Oh, I believe that too. We know government authorities collude to bring down people like me. How else could you get the STI van driven by Martin, the slaphead, who came here with his goons and mob, having taken their lapel numbers off so I couldn't identify that they were actually police officers? How could that happen without somebody making a phone call, knowing that I wasn't a bomber and of no threat? I'm of perfect character. Never any interaction with the police before all this witch hunt, which will be exposed starting next week, next Wednesday at Nottingham Crown Court. I've had to stay strong and I've had to fight forward and continue to do this against all the odds, against the saboteurs from the Times, against the lack of free speech that we have. I've had to wake up every morning and keep fighting, and thank God I did, because it's paid off. And the warmth I felt last night, and especially in Blackpool last week, and I'll feel in Bournemouth on Tuesday with my own show live, gives me the faith to carry on. When people give you a hug, last night, a man in his 80s saying, "You saved my life during lockdown," you realise how lonely and isolated people became and how this country used those bullshit COVID laws to literally rip away every bit of dignity people had, let alone take away their freedoms and their right to free speech, their right to go about their business, and even their right to earn a living. I feel proud. If I never broadcast again, if I never do another show live, what I've achieved in the last week is phenomenal. Not on the grand scale of things. I'm not changing the planet. I'm not Greta Thunberg. I'm not even Nick Ferrari on the leading conversation for Britain. But when you boil it down and you see this week that Piers Morgan had 10,000 viewers on one of his shows, yet my phone in on Sunday from my kitchen with zero budget had 40,000. When you realise that last year we had 300 million hits here at YouTube, and I now have over 10,000 people at the Secret VOR Club who are there daily wanting free speech, and I can finally do it. It's come at a price, 35 grand to set up that website and keep it going and pay everybody and everything to keep us live. We now have our own servers. That's how bad it is. I'm the new terrorist by speaking freely and having an opinion. And there is no hate. the accusation in court or out of court will be instantly dismissed by the fact that an entire police force and national broadcaster have been hoping that I have a little bit of hate somewhere in the last 2 years so they could arrest me and charge me with a hate crime, which they have not. And they have not, because there is no hate. There has never been any hate at the Voice of Reason. It is simply uncomfortable truths that they don't want people like me to broadcast. Well, sorry about your luck. The game is up. Thank you. But we must remember, there are grieving families today, like Gareth and his child, who are missing his wife and the mother to his child because of conversations that were not had. I repeat what I've said before that I say in my live show. When you go into a restaurant, they say, do you have any allergies? That is to cover them legally should you get ill if you say no from maybe a peanut. Yet people were told blindly to go and do something that has led to injury and death, and somebody somewhere needs to stand up and take responsibility for it. That is to not to say this was a huge proportion of people. It doesn't matter. One life is one life, right? Or is it a bit like the Russians that we say when they're killed by the Ukrainians, it's absolutely fine. Fuck them. I don't like that. I believe every life is equal. And I believe every war is bullshit. And it's political. Thank you for giving me everything and saving my life and making my dreams come true. Thank you for allowing me to entertain live, which I've done my entire life. This ain't my first rodeo. 25 years learning how to do what I did last night and last week and what I'll do in Bournemouth on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to a court. I've sacked my barristers and QCs. I'm not paying them anymore. They wanted another £200,000 for the trial. I'll do it myself and believe in the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I will look anybody in the eye and defend anything I've ever said. And for those who are wondering, there is no accusation that I went near anyone, did anything physical, caused any harm physically. But what they've done to me is very curious. This week, another pedo cop whose face is protected, who wasn't named, and certainly no address given. Yet they continue to try and destroy me by putting this in the press, giving my address, and hoping that another nutter ends up coming after me. One person's already gone to jail for 12 months for writing letters on my behalf. That is a witch hunt. That's a mental person who wanted to bring me down with things that I hadn't done. And he's now in jail for 12 months. Don't believe everything you hear and everything you read. It is curious this week, isn't it, that a politician is accused of a very, very serious crime, an underage boy. And again, his name and even his constituency has been protected. Why? Nobody protected me. They were happy to throw me under the bus. They were happy for the consequences of sending toenail clippings in the post under what was said to be my name. This scumbag who's now in jail. Double standards. But it's all a game. As we found out this week, that Downing Street, well, they've got the final fines, 120 odd, 86 people. Keir Starmer still claims there was no party when he was in Durham with a pint of beer in his hand eating an Indian with 15 to 30 plus people. One of which may have been the PCC, the Police Crime Commissioner from that area. I don't trust any of them. I think they're all as bad as each other. I've seen the collusion between government, the national broadcaster, and the evil, corrupt, vile police. And I'm not saying all police officers are thick, stupid and corrupt. I'm just saying I haven't met one that isn't. I hope one day to meet honourable, kind, nice, fair, impartial police. And lest we forget, my arresting officer has threatened to sue me in the civil court for defamation for pointing out the fact that she overruled a judge, which she now admits was a totally innocent mistake, and extending my bail 3 times, and she says she's now a laughing stock within the police station. Well, be less thick, love, would be my advice. And just because the uncomfortable truth of your incompetence is now exposed does not mean I don't have the right to say it. And let this be a lesson to anyone. While I have breath in my body, I will continue to tell the truth. I will sit behind my desk, relying on free speech laws, human rights, and public interest to broadcast what I want. And I will defend it in a court of law. as you will see this Wednesday at Nottingham Crown Court. Thank you to you for making my dreams come true. On Tuesday, I will be in Bournemouth, just outside actually, in a place called Wimborne at the Tivoli Theatre. I can't wait. In June, Bobby Davro and I will be back in Blackpool for an uplifting rant and rave from me and one of the greatest variety comedians and entertainers in history. You can go to Ustream to see my interview with Frank Bruno last week, a man who has suffered awfully with mental illness, and he talks about his 5 episodes where he was sectioned. We talk about his remarkable career. I have a breadth of work that I love to do, live, here, ranting, and I love the interview stuff that I've done all my life. On Thursday, I go back to Vegas for a week. I'm going to have a week off. So if you're at Secret VOR Club, from Tuesday, it goes down £1. We've credited £1. It will only be £3 next month because I'm going to have a week off. But, you know, I won't have a week off. I'll be popping backwards and forwards to let you know how it's going. But I am going to have a bit of a rest in Vegas, which I can't wait for, and see my little strippers. In fact, Desperate Donna from Doncaster might even be popping over. I might take her up the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas. So that's where we're at. We remember Lisa Shaw today, and we send our condolences to Gareth and also to every other victim. And they are victims who need to be compensated now. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you Tuesday in Bournemouth. I look forward to exposing the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth on Wednesday in court, and finally letting you decide and letting a jury decide eventually. They want to bring the trial forward 2 weeks. We, of course, are thrilled. They haven't responded from the police or the CPS. We responded immediately, yes, please, as soon as possible. I've wanted to get in court for over a decade, and now I will. And yet, the changes and departures at the BBC continue, which will all be exposed in a court of law. We already know the BBC barrister has been disbarred for being a liar and signing documents on behalf of judges. That would be corrupt, wouldn't it? Just like overruling a judge over bail. Career ending, surely. See you in court. Have a wonderful weekend. We are back on YouTube with the phone-in and at Secret VOR Club Sunday night at 9, and a week off for me from next week. But we will be here at the Secret VOR Club on Monday, Tuesday, and I think Wednesday as well. So we're off from Thursday when I'm off to Vegas. So have a wonderful weekend. Let's keep fighting for the truth. And thank you for sticking by me. Thank you for making my dreams come true. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love to do, which is to work the fucking lefty snowflake Guardian reading woke tards from behind and drive them insane to the point they can't switch off, because I press their buttons by simply telling the truth.
A is for Alex.
Did you hear that? That was the voice of fucking reason, wasn't it?
Suspended by YouTube, strip search for being a bomber to a witch hunt by the beef and cancelled by Ben O'Leary at the Dopey Times. We don't get too tiny shites. Let's go rogue and ad-free at alexbelfield.com. The Secret VOR Club. Sign up now and get shushy, shush, shush. Don't tell the lefties or the woke tart shushy.
Box takers, dinghy divers, and lefties. This ain't for you. Alex Belfield's voice of reason.